Dr. the Honorable Avinash Ramtohul, Minister of Agro-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy and Fisheries, Dr. Karatsugo, Minister for Tertiary Education, junior ministers, members of the Parliament, Mrs. Disaster, UN President Coordinator for Maurice and Seychelles, Mr. Maurice, Chief Executive of Intel, Mr. Vimal, Chief Executive of Mauritius Telecom, Mr. Saratala, Chairperson of Mauritius Telecom, captains of the industry, chief executives, members of the administrative cadre of the government, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, a very good evening to you and thank you for being here with us tonight. It's with utmost pleasure that we welcome you for this very, very important event today, which is the launch of the AI strategy, accompanied with the governance framework, which we call as feuille framework. First of all, I think I should just go back a little bit to the idea of the AI marketplace. So we can just imagine the concept of demand and supply. There is obviously a set of demands for AI services. Many organizations want to implement AI. Some of them know how to do it. Others are not very sure how to do it, what is available, especially in the local market. And on the supply side, we have traditional companies which are already deploying, developing AI modules, AI services, AI agents, and we have startups as well, which are on the same street. But then this connection between those who are providing the services and those who are needing the services, I believe, and it's a shared opinion within the ministry as well, that that connection is missing. So we thought that with the launch of this AI strategy document together with the FAIR guidelines, we will at the same time create this platform that can allow people to exchange the problems, the use cases, and exchange as well the AI agents which they have developed. Obviously, there is secrecy of the algorithms. We don't go to that extent, and the ministry is actually providing the platform. What's interesting here is that we are requesting the startups, those who are providing those use cases, to come and register, and those will be only local. The Mauritian, those who are within the Republic of Mauritius, those startups can register. But those who are consuming can be from Mauritius and can be from abroad as well. So this way we are able to protect our local startups, our local AI industry, but while at the same time consume the opportunities that are available, not just in Mauritius, but regionally as well. And I'd like to now have the view of the strategy, please. Now, while we do that, we heard about a name, we heard about a lady, we heard about DIVA. DIVA stands for, as you can see on both sides, Digital Interactive Virtual Assistant. And who's DIVA? What does DIVA do? Where did she come from? Now, DIVA is a creation which focuses on service delivery. DIVA is not a physical robot. DIVA is a software robot, and a software robot which chats. We call that a chatbot. DIVA is a chatbot, but it's not just a chatbot that will provide to you passive information. It will provide you active information. For example, if somebody has applied for a passport and gets onto the website of the government, the portal of the government, and tries to know what is the current status of their application, DIVA will be able to provide that information as well. So we are currently in the process of acquiring the full set of services of DIVA, but today is the formal introduction of DIVA, the concept of DIVA. DIVA is meant to be the AI partner for every Mauritian, and DIVA will reside on your mobile phone. And the house within your mobile phone is the super app of the government, which we'll talk about shortly. And maybe I can hear from you what is the name of that super app? Cœur. So that's the name. I think it's Cœur, Francisco. So we will have actually a giver residing within the super app, and this is where we'll be able to interact with her. And coming to this strategy, it's good that I inform all of you the way we actually work with it. At the Ministry of IT, neither do we pretend that we know it all, that we can do it all, nor do we act in that manner. We know that we cannot walk this talk, we cannot do the economic reconstruction on our own. We are working with the industry. We are collaborating. So we created, just like we did for the blueprint, we created several working groups. And we got industry leaders who are well-respected and well-known leaders in this country to come in and support the exercise of formulating the strategy. And the basic philosophy that drove that work was AI for all, because we want AI to be inclusive. There is too much of digital divide, and we cannot grow that divide any further. We actually have the responsibility and the duty to reduce that divide. AI for progress, and as the team put forward earlier, AI is not here just as a tool for us to look good, or for us to go and project documents internationally so that we can increase our scores. That's not the purpose. We want AI to be effectively applied for societal progress, for collective progress, and for inclusive progress. And AI is for Mauritius here, and we call that AIM, AI for Mauritius. Now, having said this, it's also important that we put it forward that the whole strategy is people-centered. That is, we've developed the strategy so that people can benefit from what the AI revolution has to offer. And as you can see from the government program that was read in January 2025, we built the blueprint, which is fully aligned with the government program. And the result of that blueprint, one part of it, is the AI strategy for Mauritius, which we refer to as AIM, and the FAIR guidelines that go along with it. What does FAIR mean? F for fairness, A for accountability, I for algorithmic integrity and inclusiveness, and R for responsibility. You might not have realized that if a software developer wants your company to close down, he can very well do it. He can very well do it by including codes within that software that can do the trick. And I'll give you a simple example. It's not that I'm giving you ideas. So if I were a programmer for a tax revenue organization, and I put it this way, if national identity number is 1509721402231, which is mine, then income tax payable is income tax payable multiplied by 0, which implies that I pay no tax. But I'm submitting all my filings, I'm submitting all my documents, but algorithmically in the back end, there is no tax that will be applicable to me. And guess what? Is it technically possible? Those who are technical in the audience, can we hear from you? Is that technically possible? Yes, it is possible. There are checks and balances. There are systems of checks and balances, very much. But chances are still there that it can happen. This is why algorithmic integrity is critical, especially when we talk about AI applications. AI is in the lives of everybody now, without any distinction. It's in the life of everyone. And when we are interacting with AI, we have to have the trust, we have to have the confidence that this AI module is doing precisely what it is supposed to do. I can refer to you a case in the US, the state of Wisconsin. I spoke about that this morning. So there was this guy called Lewis, and that court was using a platform called Compass. And Compass was considering a set of parameters before it could come to a decision. And the decision in that context, or in that case, was whether bail would be granted or not to that person. And parameters such as the social environment, the financial ability, and the friends that this person has, the place where this person lives, all these different types of parameters were used to decide whether bail would be granted or not. And that decision was fully automated, which means that there was no human in the loop. Now the machines are ultimately deciding whether this person called Lewis will be able to enjoy his freedom of movement, which is a constitutional right, or not. So when we reach a point when machines are deciding about our freedom, we have to start asking ourselves the question as to whether this is right or wrong, because it's all about being human-centered. This is why it's very critical for us to have that framework. And I'd like to just take you through a roadmap very quickly as we started. So the first thing that we did was we canceled the SIM card re-registration, which was a pre-election promise that we made. This way we gave people back their digital liberty. And moving forward, we re-engineered an existing platform into Mokos Plus. This platform actually receives reports about cyber crimes that take place and where people suffer, people fall victims of different types of frauds. And also not just frauds, but a lot of cases of defamation. And within our social environment now, the digital social environment, this has become like water under the bridge. So earlier on, we could not actually establish the group or the age that person belonged to. Therefore, we had to bring changes so that we could start computing statistics around how many people under 18 are now falling victim to cyber crimes. We move forward with the digital footprint, transformation blueprint rather, and we established the online service for motor vehicle license renewal, the MVL renewal. Can I see by a raise of hand, how many of you are using that service now? So we have an average of 9,000. An average of 9,000 renewals that are being done online, and now we want to bring that onto the mobile phone and the code. It's true that when we reach around end of month, the 30th, 31st, 1st, 2nd, the system gets a bit slow. That is because there's a lot of calls on that system, but we are reviewing our infrastructures at the moment. For implementation of the blueprint, we established the interministerial committee that uses this dashboard in order to monitor implementation of that project. And we move forward with the publication of this booklet, which is called AI for All, which uses a very interesting pedagogical technique. Some of you would remember the cartoon style magazines that you used to use. We move forward with this, and ultimately with the help of the UN and UNDP, we printed this booklet which aims at creating more awareness around cybersecurity and cyber criminals. And moving forward, we then had... She is not to be called yet.
Moi, c'est Diva. Nous pas juste un système, nous une nouvelle façon de connecter du service et là. Nous un digital interactive virtual assistant. Ça veut dire une forme de l'intelligence artificielle qui est capable de rendre la vie de chaque citoyen plus facile, plus rapide et plus efficace. Nous là pour exercer un accès aux services publics, trouver information, répondre aux questions et guider dans un temps d'immense. Bientôt, vous pouvez un compagnon digital pour chaque Mauricien qui vont vivre une démarche administrative, comprendre un service, ou soit gagner un guide dans un affaire spécifique. Beaucoup accompagnons étape par étape. L'intelligence artificielle, ce n'est pas juste une petite chose technique. Il y a un outil pour transport nous la vie tous les jours. Il est capable de faire un service plus vite et plus accessible. Il est capable d'aider les enfants à apprendre plus bien. Ban travailleurs gagnent meilleurs outils, ban l'entreprise innove plus et ban citoyen gagne service plus proche aussi. Mais plus important, il y a une façon pour nous avancer ensemble. En cette question-là, c'est pas qui Diva capable de faire pour nous, mais qui nous, ensemble avec Diva, qui nous capable de réaliser. Nous souhaitons surtout une bonne continuation. Au revoir et à bientôt dans les sites du gouvernement et l'application correcte.
Thank you. So you see, Diva is invasive and pervasive as well. So you just interjected into this conversation, but then as you are using your phone, and if there are questions you are asking to Diva, she will come up and answer those questions. So moving forward, and this is why she came up with the super app correct as well. If you look at your super app correct, I'm not sure how many of you have downloaded it. Maybe we can spare a raise of hand. How many of you have downloaded it? Around 50% of the room, not bad at all. So the first thing that I see here is a flashing yellow light. And this flashing yellow light is telling me that as we speak here today, as we consume electricity, we are currently below 30% of reserve on our electricity production. So this is the first thing that appears, and this comes in real time. And if that color goes red, means we've gone below 15%. So the moment we see it yellow, we're at home, we can go around, switch off some lights. And when it turns red, we might want to switch off some more appliances. So this is the first thing that's up there on correct. And I'd like to draw your attention to a couple more things. We all know that you can see your driving license details already. And we are working with all ministers of the cabinet and the state law office as well to give this the recognition of a digital driving license. And that is well in process. The third thing there, you would see all the news from GIS. So whatever GIS posts now is getting reflected on correct. You will also see the notice for vacancies. And my colleagues from the cabinet and from the parliament would agree with me that when we meet with our constituents on Wednesdays, a lot of them come to us, talk about jobs. Many of them, they are not very well aware of where to find the notice for vacancies. So what we've done now is we brought all of it under one single roof. You click on vacancies, they can see a full list of those vacancies and they can search as well. And very soon we'll be bringing here the online renewal for MPL. We'll also bring the mobile ID of every Mauritian. And we have a set of additional services like e-health, for example. So we have the app, La Santé here. Currently on the e-health project, we have a bit more than 10% of our population that is already registered on the e-health platform. The pilot site was SAJ Hospital in the east, which has a caption of 350,000 people. We have already captured more than 100,000 of those people. And interestingly, you can also go to the ENT hospital. I hope you don't have to go there. But should you have to go there, you can actually experience the e-health services. It takes seconds before you're able to go see the doctor. And we have the adoption of ISO 27001 as the de facto standard for information security management systems by the government. Now, for far too long, data protection regulations have not been respected. And now the Data Protection Commissioner, I believe she's here, Data Protection Commissioner, we are working on the legislation for some additional powers so that we are able to work on the culture of data protection better. Yes, there is an EU adequacy that we're working towards, and the state law office is currently considering that. Why is that important? Because in our industry, in various industries, not just IT, we are dealing with personal data of EU citizens. And that makes it critical for us to ensure that we align with their own requirements around data protection. You might have heard in the budget speech of 2025-2026, the Prime Minister mentioned the establishment of the AI unit. And today was the actual formal launch of the AI unit together with its logo. And the low Earth orbit satellites actually have opened up the space so that operators like even Starlink can come and operate within our region. So Agalega, for example, is able to benefit from such connections as well and rotate through, I think it's OneWeb, Master. OneWeb, right? They are able to also have proper coverage together with the services of Mauritius Telecom as well. We launched the national data strategy in January, and also at the time online protection, so that we can provide additional safety to our children online. And here we have the full collaboration of all the mobile network operators, Mauritius Telecom, MTEL, and Chile as well. So, and now we've reached a point where we have our blueprint. I will not talk more about the blueprint, I believe you are all well aware, but essentially it establishes the foundational structures for digitalization to leapfrog to the next level, whether it is infrastructure or human capital or the economy or even digital sustainability. We tend to actually, especially in government, and we want to change this. When a laptop or a desktop reaches year 5, year 6, we take it and put it in a warehouse. After 10 years, we throw it away. But we are looking at putting a life back into that hardware, into that computer, so that people who are less fortunate are able to, by way of a very minimal investment, have access to those technologies. Not just this will protect the environment, this will help the economy, but this will also increase access to technology and to internet. Internet is not just a technology, it is knowledge, it is information, it is development, it is innovation, it is evolution. So this is the reason for which we are looking at digital sustainability as well. And before I go any further, I'd like to tell you that this work is, and as I mentioned earlier, not just the work of the minister. This is the work of a big team of people. And I'd like to see if in this room we have people who have contributed to the development of this AI strategy. I'd like to please stand up from wherever you are. Those who contributed? Yes, yes, yes. A big round of applause for them. Thank you very much. We've had around 35 people. We had around 35 people in total that were actually, that formed 5 different working groups. And those working groups were the actors behind the preparation of this strategy. And the vision that we have established for AI for the country, we want Mauritius to be a leader, a regional leader in AI. And this, we can make that happen. But once again, it's not just the Ministry of IT, we can't do it on our own. We don't even pretend to. We know what we know well, but we don't know what we don't know. So we want to work together with the industry. And moving forward, one of the key elements that we need to have in order to move forward is the infrastructure maturity. And here, I'd like to call upon Mr. Vimal from Mauritius Telecom for a couple of points on stage, please, Vimal. Thank you, good evening. Vimal, we would like to find out from you, how is Mauritius Telecom looking at maturing its infrastructures so that we can serve the AI requirements for the country?
Well, first of all, congratulations. Congratulations on the launch. And maybe just to put things in context a little bit. So what's happening today with the launch is we are really setting up the fundamentals, the infrastructure. So you're coming up with a strategy, and the fair guidelines that you're speaking about, that you will be talking more about. It's really around governance. So then with this into place, the problem that we face, right, and then which we're wanting to tackle, and this is where we are really shaping the partnership that we are doing with the ministry here, is trust. So, like for example, the series of videos that we saw this morning, earlier today, so great, but they were all AI generated. So were they fake, right? So what do we do when we have tools that are able to create things for malicious reasons? So there is a need to build, to operationalize trust-based view. So that's where, like, what you've launched with the marketplace and where we've collaborated on that, this is where we're looking at putting into place a trusted AI marketplace. Right? We're starting with Maurice here, and we see ourselves as a telco, as playing an important role here in ensuring there's trusted AI applications. And once we have trusted AI applications, so that's where then, how do we run these applications? So what we are doing on our side is we're investing in infrastructure. So what infrastructure mean here? It starts with power generation. So we want to invest in green energy. We want to invest in data centers, so upgrading our current data centers, and then even building new data centers, and then equipping them with GPUs. So that all in all, then I think that ambition of us being a reference regionally can actually happen.
Okay, thank you for that, Vimal. Yes, indeed, and you reminded me that the video competition we just saw earlier, all of those videos were generated via AI tools. And I'd like to congratulate all the winners and actually all the participants in that competition. AI needs data variety, volume, and velocity. Data velocity also means that we need to have a very good coverage for mobile network, because most people are now connected by way of their mobile phones. So how are you ensuring that the quality of service is extended across the country?
So we're investing a lot. So there's within the country itself, so what we're doing in some infrastructures, obviously there's mobile, there's fiber, internet. So that's where we've, the rest of the telcos as well, we're looking at how to work together actually, like to up the quality within the country itself. But where we're putting in a lot of focus also is international connectivity. Because with AI, there's going to be that need to be very much well connected internationally. So subsea connectivity. Today, 99% of the traffic through internet goes through undersea cables. These are cables that we don't see because it's under the sea, but that's where 99% of the traffic of internet goes through. And we face a problem in Mauritius, especially with one of our main cables, which will be going end of life. So that's where then we have projects where we're looking at building resiliency to the country, and that's one thing where that's priority for us.
So just before coming here, we were with the Foreign Minister of India, Dr. Jai Shankar, and the Prime Minister of Mauritius, Dr. Avinash Ramtohul. And there were conversations also around the Google cable that could be connecting the US with Australia and South Africa as well, where Mauritius wants to play an important role. How do you see this changing our digital landscape in Mauritius?
So Google has decided to build a cable, it's called AIT, that will go all the way from US all the way to India, and then it goes through the Indian Ocean. So companies like Google, Meta, they're investing in such cables. And the truth is, like, we're just a dot in the ocean, right? If we don't pull our weight, if we don't reach out, if we don't be proactive, we're going to be left out. We're going to be left out in all of these next generation of infrastructure that's going to be built. But I think, like what you mentioned here, so there's a great synergy happening to start with at government level, at ministry level, and of course we are playing a role as an enabler here to ensure that we are part of this whole project.
Thank you. And maybe I should highlight that we got the head of Mauritius Telecom to build up the marketplace for AI. And Vimal, thank you very much. Thank you also to your team for the support in that. Thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, we have also amidst us today the new director for MTEL. MTEL, as you know, has also been playing a very important role in our digital landscape. And I have the pleasure now to invite Master for a couple of points that we have for you, Master.
Thank you, Maurice.
Thank you, Master. You have been operating a data center in RC, and we believe that there needs to be now a revival of the data center strategy. All the more so because we are looking at Mauritius as playing the role of a far DR site. We are very well connected digitally with the African continent, and they have competing requirements. So what is the strategy of MTEL in that case so that we can provide the supply that the demand is created?
Yes, well, thank you. First of all, I want to congratulate you for this initiative, this event, and the whole initiative behind AI. I think it's a clear example that AI innovation follows human lead, not the other way around. And this is something that we need to do. Regarding data center strategy, it's all about how much data we create. The more we adopt AI, the more data we need to manage, the more data we need to store. AI will learn from stored data. So right now we're moving from data centers that used to have certain kind of servers to new technology, to GPUs. So processing capacity is increasing, and those GPUs and these new servers, they generate a lot of heat. It's not the consumption of energy that creates the peak of energy, it's the heat that creates. So we are used to have our data centers and cool it off with chillers, normal chillers, which pull a lot of energy. That's not necessarily the case anymore. So I think when we talk about energy constraints, I always think about innovation. Constraints is exactly what leads to innovation. The new data centers, the ones that we're planning, are going to be GPU based. We need to talk about water cooling, and we need to talk about new sources of energy like the sun. And I think innovation is positioned perfectly, is positioned perfectly for these things, because we are an island, we have a lot of sun, we have a lot of water. We can innovate on water cooling. We can install data centers. We can reference for the region, for the world, and start positioning Maurice at this trusted partner in AI. You can have all your information with us. We will have the systems, we will have the technology, and we can actually export the kind of technology.
So you mean you will empower your data centers with green energy?
Yes.
So every megawatt of energy would require 1 hectare of land,
Yes.
or 2.37 atoms. So it's quite a bit of land that is required. How do you reconcile that?
Yes, but there are other means of energies. Like the solar is one part, and I think we need to be smart about how much solar we're going to produce. It's not going to be enough for the demand. We need to work through another source of energies. For instance, what I was making the point about water cooling, it's not necessarily generating more electricity, it's actually reducing the need for more electricity by keeping cool environments.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so Master, thank you so much. We look forward to further engagements with yourselves. And thank you for being here. So going forward here, we have this element around innovation, culture, and ecosystem. And this is where we would like to have some ideas shared around what we are doing to ensure that we bring those startups to a point where they will be able to produce AI software that is marketable. There's a lot of research done. There are a lot of those startups that fail. I think statistics has it that probably around 10% succeed. But what is the kind of environment that we're providing to them? Honestly, currently we have a challenge with that. And we are relooking at the innovation ecosystem. I believe we have Michelle in the crowd. Michelle, can we have you please? You have a mic for Michelle? Yes. There we go. Michelle, can you please tell us about the work that is happening around relooking at the AI startup ecosystem or the innovation ecosystem overall?
Yes, thank you, Minister, and congratulations for the event and the passionate support for startups. Sorry. Yeah, so the ecosystem. I've been working in this ecosystem for 7 years now, about 10 years. I'm the co-founder and the managing director of one of the accredited incubators in that factory, so we do tech for good startups. And I'd like to share on behalf of all the colleagues here a few observations. First, the success. There's been lots of progress made across these years. Now we have more solid founders, but we have a gap. The gap is the startups don't get access to the market, and they don't get access to funding, early stage funding. So that's where probably we should focus, and that's true for AI as well. Now, with regard to AI, startups need to embrace AI because it's true for productivity, as for any business, but it's super important to not look at the interaction only, but at the capacity AI is a superpower for founders to build not only their product, but their startups itself.
Okay. And what would be your advice to startups, AI startups that are coming up now?
First, take care of yourself, because the startups, they rely on the strength of the founders. The founders is to be super solid themselves so as a person. So we're talking about human people here. So be surrounded, seek for support. There is support. And second, don't go too fast. Don't try to raise funds too fast, because investors look for traction. Traction means some success in terms of commercialization. And in our context, you need to have enough financial capacity to give you a size order, 20, I'm talking in dollars here, $20K, $100K dollars like that, but you need really that to build that MVP and launch it and prove that customers want it. Then you can go scale up and attract venture capital.
All right, thank you, Michel. And we know that my colleague, Minister for Tertiary Education, is working actively as well in revamping the institution around innovation, and technology will play an important role as well there. Michel, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr.
We now move forward very quickly, and we talk about workforce and capacity building. A lot of companies, when we talk to them, the challenge of talent becomes one of the key areas for discussion. And we are privileged here to have as well Mr. Raj with us, who has been instrumental in devising this dimension of our strategy. And we'd like to hear from you, Mr. Makun, please. Could you please share with us your experience of going through this journey, and what were the key challenges that you found?
Thank you, Mr. Minister, Ministers, and for the very interactive way of, I think that's very innovative itself, and that's great. There are a few figures I want to share with you. First, in G5, the group 5, we have about 15 persons working together. That's very important. And there's another figure I want to share with you. We look at Mauritius, 9 segments, starting from pre-primary, primary, and moving up till working adults, non-working adults. And those 9 segments, we also divide about 4 pillars. In fact, our program is called AI for AI. AI for AI. AI for all and inclusion. And it was very important for us to look at the population of Mauritius, 9 segments, and we devised 4 pillars in terms of what we want to achieve and 3 levels of sort of achievement, in terms of foundational, in terms of intermediate, in terms of transformational. And also we looked at the delivery, about 8 delivery sort of platforms. So, Mr. Minister, these are, in fact, the 9 segments you will see. Pre-primary, primary, secondary, up to policymakers. Then, how do we look at those target groups? What will be the focus? And also the outcomes, And we are now having that ready, and we also have what we call the delivery platform to be able to implement that. It was very exciting. We had a great group of what I call the G5, and more importantly, Mr. Minister, is now la mise en œuvre, the implementation, and we want to have it timed.
Absolutely. So we're now going to establish the implementation working group, and that is the group which will be implementing this plan. And it's a good timing because we are approaching the budget preparation period as well. Right? So Mr. Ramtohul, thank you so much, and thank you for all your contributions. Thank you. We will now go through 2 more sections, and we'll do that very quickly. I know your stomach might be crumbling at the moment. So before we get to this point, I'd like to call upon Mr. Kevin Ramtohul to talk around the business side of AI and how is this strategy aligned with the vision of business Mauritius. Please.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much. May I perhaps start with sharing something? In 2023, Business Mauritius was invited for the B20. B20 precedes the G20 meetings. They happen to be in India. And we came back talking about AI for all and trying to drive policy recommendations around AI for all. So it's taken us 3 years and a new minister to today see the AI strategy. So thank you very, very much for this. Why were we looking at it? Why were we so interested in AI? Because it is actually so transformative for businesses. We've had in several sectors pilots, small projects. We've got certain industries that are a bit further. Manufacturing actually uses quite a bit of AI in reducing waste in design. Financial services certainly does it. But from pilot, scarce type of projects to have something cohesive with the structure, and it enables us to know what our ethical way to go, and an AI that is human-centric. I think it's a really big leap, and this is really what we're expecting from this AI strategy. Certainly, another big ask of the business community is RegTech. RegTech will certainly bring a lot of value in easing the speed of regulation and ensuring that we're able to move faster. A lot of work has been done also with the Data Protection Commissioner. I think data is key. At the end of the day, for us to be able to move forward, we need to ensure that there is data availability, respecting every single person's privacy, and also at the same time ensuring that we're not over-regulated, perhaps, Minister, because we need to have the right balance. But certainly, we believe that AI is going to bring quite a bit of transformative change in this country, whether it is all sectors of the economy, whether it's the relation between government and the business community in terms of RegTech, but also in terms of private discussions and private discussions with the business, with the larger Mauritian community. Because I think we can really enhance the data-driven approach that has been driving businesses into something much, much more powerful than the others.
All right, so data-driven approach, including data-driven policy formulation as well.
I hope so.
Kevin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your you see, this AI governance framework is well set to become law, ultimately. But we don't want to go that route at this stage because we don't want to stifle innovation. Innovation should breathe, innovation should happen. This is why we're going based on a policy framework. So do we have this first moment? All right. There we go. So Navina, welcome. Can you please tell us about the importance of having these regulations, or at this stage, this principle-based guideline to ensure that AI happens in the proper manner?
First of all, allow me to thank you for this initiative. This PPPP, which is public-private people partnership, is an innovation in itself. And I have to say, under your leadership, it was a pleasure working with the groups, especially the private sector and the public sector, because it really drove this strategy that we were working on to another level. So allow me to thank you, Honourable Minister. Yes, so we have been talking about data so far. But when we talk about data, we are essentially talking about the data of people, individuals, and when we speak of data, we necessarily speak of protection. And I do agree that the time is not right to legislate just yet, because AI is evolving. We have looked at various jurisdictions whilst working in the subcommittee, and we have realized that Mauritius is not here to adopt just any model. Mauritius has its own specificities and its own realities that we need not legislate just yet. We have our cybersecurity laws, we have the ICT laws, and we have other sectoral regulations which are very well equipped, may I say, with regards to what we already have in order to make sure that this framework that you're coming up with works perfectly. However, when we speak of data, we speak of confidentiality, we speak of responsibility, more importantly, we speak of trust. And when we speak of trust, we need to have a framework whereby people can know that there's going to be accountability. And when there's accountability, at some point there must be a way to regulate the use of data and make sure that confidence reigns at the end of the day. So as much as I would agree with you that we shouldn't be legislating just yet, and if we do come up with a legislation, it cannot be something which is going to be stagnant. It has to be evolving, something which is flexible, and bearing in mind that we should not stop innovation surgery. Thank you.
Absolutely. So just one more point there. I think, with the geopolitical situation of Mauritius and with what's happening around the world, we also need to be very concerned about the weaponization of AI. And our legislation currently, I think there are international agreements like the Hague Convention. But I also think that amendments would probably be brought to that, because weaponization of AI is becoming a very serious matter. So Navina, thank you so much for all your input and for all the work you've done for us. Thank you. We will move forward and just talk very quickly around a few more dimensions that we have. What we will see in a few years down the line is some parts around AI, and this has been well established within the strategy document, some actions around building capacity, and also action towards looking at the African market for exporting our services. We've failed in that for some time. I think the last 10 years, without wearing our political hat, we put that aside. But just as any other Mauritian, we've realized that we've lost several ranks in terms of our digitalization. But we are well set to now start catching up on that lost time. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was actually around the strategy and the fair guidelines. We've spoken about that, and this provides the right framework for us all, developers, consumers, to respect so that we can create the right environment for AI to evolve and for the nation to prosper. Thank you very much.
Merci, Monsieur le Ministre, pour vos explications très éclairées sur le sujet. Et je pense que notre auditoire a très bien apprécié. Alors, sans plus tarder, nous allons passer au lancement officiel de la stratégie de l'intelligence artificielle. Donc, nous arrivons maintenant au moment le plus attendu de cette soirée, donc le lancement officiel. Et pour ce faire, je vais inviter quelques personnalités à nous rejoindre sur la scène pour procéder au lancement officiel. Donc, bien sûr, je vais solliciter encore une fois le ministre, Monsieur le docteur Avinash Ramtohul, à venir sur la scène pour le lancement officiel du National Strategy and Fair Guidelines. Je vais demander aux 5 intervenants qui sont venus sur la scène tout à l'heure, qui étaient dans le working group. Donc, Monsieur Rajmakoun, Monsieur Kevin Ramkelamouane, s'il vous plaît, venez. Madame Passouramen, Monsieur Michel Cortani, Monsieur Michel Cortani, donc directeur de la Factory. Madame Passouramen, qui est assistante parliamentary counsel au bureau de l'Attorney General. Monsieur Ramtohul, programme directeur Ecclesia, Monsieur Kevin Ramtohul, CEO de Business Maurice, et je vais demander à quelques autres personnalités présentes, Madame Lisa Sinrickson, the UN Resident Coordinator for Mauritius, please, and Seychelles. Miss Sujita Sekaran, Officer in Charge of UNDP, Mauritius. Monsieur Marc Israël, Board Director de la Turbine. Monsieur Dave Urko, le Managing Director de Rogers Capital. Monsieur Urko. Et Monsieur Ferran Karamjao, le secrétaire permanent au ministère des technologies de l'information, de la communication et de l'innovation. Venez nous rejoindre. Donc, mesdames et messieurs, je vous invite à porter votre attention. Alors, je vais demander à nos personnalités de vous séparer en deux groupes de 5. Comme ça, on va libérer l'écran. Donc, je vous invite à porter votre attention sur l'écran pour le dévoilement officiel du AI stratégie et des faits balance. Maintenant, on va procéder à la remise officielle de la version papier de ces guidelines. Séance photo. Sous vos applaudissements. Alors, on invite nos invités à justement ouvrir ces guidelines. Je leur cadrer pour leur entretien. Photo. Prêts? Vous êtes prêts? C'est bon. Merci. Merci. Attendez. Voilà. Les photographes, vous savez, les impératifs des photographes. Monsieur le ministre, veuillez vous déplacer un petit peu à l'avant. Les autres, à l'arrière du ministre, en arrière de cercle. Venez. C'est bon, monsieur le photographe? C'est bon. Messieurs, mesdames, c'est bon. Allez. Merci à vous tous. Veuillez reprendre votre place. Merci. Alors, nous avons assisté justement au lancement du national AI stratégie et des faits guidelines et nous arrivons maintenant à la clôture de notre belle soirée. Donc le mot de la fin, le mot de remerciements. Alors, mesdames et messieurs, donc nous arrivons au terme de cette soirée marquante qui aura posé les bases d'une vision ambitieuse et structurée pour l'avenir numérique de Maurice. Permettez-moi d'exprimer au nom des organisateurs nos plus sincères remerciements à l'ensemble de nos partenaires et sponsors pour leur engagement, leur confiance et leur contribution essentielle à la réussite de cet événement. Alors, je remercie plus particulièrement nos sponsors Accenture Maurice, Afrasia Bank, Intel, Genesis, la Mauritius Digital Promotion Agency, la Mauritius Film Development Corporation, Mauritius Telecom, Outre-mer Telecom et Quantum Insurance. Nos remerciements vont également au ministère des Technologies de l'Information, de la Communication et de l'Innovation pour sa vision et son engagement constant en faveur d'un développement technologique responsable et inclusif. Merci au chef de cabinet, M. Ferran Kanjao, et à tous ses officiers. Bien sûr, un grand merci au ministre de tutelle, le Dr Avinash Ramtohul, pour son leadership avisé et pour sa vision. Je tiens aussi à saluer chaleureusement tous nos intervenants, ainsi que vous, chers invités, représentants du secteur public, du secteur privé et de la société civile, pour votre présence et votre participation active. C'est ensemble, à travers des collaborations fortes et une vision partagée, que nous construirons un écosystème numérique innovant, éthique et durable. Alors, je vous souhaite une excellente continuation de soirée. La soirée n'est pas terminée. Et vous invite maintenant à poursuivre les échanges à l'extérieur lors de la session de networking qui clôturera notre soirée. Je vous remercie pour votre attention.